Pinch hitting for Deb Hobson. I feel like a public address announcer. Pinch hitting for Deb Hobson. Chief Nursing Officer Ashley Sullins.
Thank you.
How you doing, Ashley?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Well, we're doing really good, really good. Glad that you could make it in.
Yes.
Sorry we had to inconvenience you. You were talking to a patient. You just had to get that information out first. I know, we're second.
Yes, patients
Second
always
your
come
heart.
first.
I
sure.
get it. Anyway, so coming up very shortly in May.
Yes.
And May is Nurses Month, isn't it?
It is. It's actually Nurses Week. The 6th through, I believe, the 14th is actually designated Nurses Week. It also is Hospital Week. So we chose, it's happens, always falls on the same week each year. So this year we're doing some fun activities around the hospital, and we're actually going to celebrate it the week before so it doesn't overlap. We're going to celebrate it May 2nd through the 6th. And all the nurse managers, nurse leaders have come together and planned some fun activities and games and different prizes for the nurses to show our appreciation for what they're doing at our hospital.
So the relay around the hospital is still on then? Yeah,
that's right.
The tag team relay.
That's right.
Probably not, right? But it would be kind of fun. But I don't think anybody realized how big the hospital is.
That would be interesting to watch, wouldn't it?
Would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
There's a new idea.
That's a new idea for next year. How's that stand?
Yeah.
Thank
Nobody's
you.
in training yet this year.
Nope.
Very good. All right. Well, people do need to realize, first off, there's a critical shortage of nurses still, isn't there?
There really is. We're definitely experiencing that right now at our hospital. We're trying to work through that the best of our ability. One thing which is good is we are hospital-based, so we have different departments to try to pull nurses from, but there's a severe shortage, and nursing right now is a difficult job to have. It's very rewarding, though, at the same time.
Sure. One of the things, and I hope people remember, just a couple of years back when COVID was running rampant, everybody was relying on the medical profession, the nurses, registered nurses, doesn't make any difference, nurse practitioners. Everybody was relying on the medical field to get them through this. And talk about some pressure, because nobody knew what was to come. Nobody knew anything, did they?
Right. And I think we're seeing some of that. Nurses are tired right now. They've had a lot of things happen in the last 2 years that have been very stressful. They've seen a lot of things. They've had to be pushed outside of their comfort zone and take care of things that they didn't really know a lot about. So it was very stressful. It never went away. They take it home with them. And so I think obviously that's what we're seeing with nursing right now is people are choosing to leave the field. There's just not the nurses out there that are wanting to work anymore like there was maybe 10 years ago.
Right. They need a break. They need a break from all that stress. You just do. There's a breaking point for everybody.
Right.
And no matter how congenial you want to be, sometimes when you hit that point, you just have to back away.
Right.
Or you're going to explode.
Right. Yeah, but I'm so thankful we have a wonderful group of nurses at Salem Hospital that are very dedicated to SMDH, and they're doing whatever they can to make sure coverage is happening in all areas of nursing, because we not only have med surg, but we have home health, we have surgery, dialysis, we have ER. I'm probably forgetting. Then we have our infection prevention, long-term care. Yeah, we have all of those areas to try to find coverage, and nurses are kind of being put in positions that, and I think you're going to hear this wherever you go, with not as much orientation as what you would maybe get with a full staffing.
Sure.
Another thing you throw in there is travel agency nursing. You have a lot of nurses that are wanting to travel. So then that pool of nurses that actually want to come and work at one specific location, that pool is definitely smaller than what it ever has been. I think we're starting to see a little change there, though. We're starting to see some of those agency nurses come out of that and pick up full-time jobs. So we're hoping we may be able to capture some of those here soon.
Actually, I just think that, after a while you get accustomed to a location, be it SMDH or some other hospital. If you're a nurse there, why would you want to, after 13 weeks, or 26 weeks, okay, I'm done with this. I'm just going to go to another hospital. Well, first off, nobody's really going to want to hire you if that's your attitude. You're not going to treat the patients with
Right.
any respect if that's your attitude. Second is, once you get involved, and I've seen this at Salem a lot, the doctors, the nurses, the professionals, they get involved with the patients. It's like losing a family member if that nurse isn't there when
Oh
they
my
come back.
gosh, you're right
Am
about
am
that.
I right?
Yeah.
I mean, the patients, they have come to expect a certain amount of, you know, I guess residual love
Yeah.
from the nurses, and the nurses in turn kind of expect that back. Because when you really get a good communication between nurse and patient, that's just like being a brother and a sister, or father and mother, or father daughter, or mother son, or whatever. That relationship is a special relationship, isn't it?
It is.
Because they
Yeah,
confide
and
in
it's
you.
not, I know we're talking about nurses here, but it's not only the nurses,
No,
it's
no.
all areas, of the hospital. That house cleaner that comes in to clean the room every day. That patient looks probably forward to seeing that house cleaner come in and clean their room and talk to them
Sure.
and give them some attention, ask them how they're doing. So it takes everyone absolutely to make sure that we're providing the best care possible.
And then the neat, being one that was in the hospital for a while, a short period of time here, a couple of years back, you don't realize how much you miss. And I had COVID, so you were talking to people through a mask. You're talking to people
Right.
through I always kind of call it the Martian suit. You put all
Sure.
that on there, and you can't see anybody's face. You see eyes, maybe, and that's it. But some people wore the full mask as well. You feel like an outsider.
Yes, you do.
When you're in the hospital, when you had COVID going on. And I also remember being in a hospital or being treated in the ER with such delicacy when I got there, because I had passed out. They didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
So they're running me through the test, asked me how I felt. I felt fine after I passed out. They got me back up. However, everybody in the ER was centered to
Yes.
what was wrong. We were
Right.
doing a test to try and isolate it, figure it out, what it was. Did I have COVID? Did I not have COVID? What did I hurt anything? And I didn't hurt anything. So they're doing all the tests on me. Everybody kept coming in. You're doing okay. You're doing okay. I was first.
Right.
Not the COVID.
Right.
Not who I was.
Right.
Not anything else except get the patient in. Let's find out what the issue is and secure him and get him stable. Well, I was already stable. Then they found out, okay, they had to keep me a while. And during that time, you weren't allowed visitors. So you're in that room all by
I'm very
your
happy
lonesome.
that, the visitor policy has
Yeah,
changed
yeah.
for the patients.
But
because
but the
people
only
get
people
lonely when they're stuck in those four walls and they don't have anybody. They feel isolated.
Right.
So,
So the neat thing was, though, is that during that time, I would say every 15 minutes, somebody came by, poked their head in. You doing okay?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
as a, or maybe
We're
even
here.
talk for 2 or 3 minutes. Just
Right.
keep me going.
we're here, right?
Yeah,
let
we're
you
here.
know.
We're here. And then when they made their diagnosis, of course, and I, of course, found out I was dehydrated. They had to put me in for
Right.
a few days, but that's okay.
Right.
That's okay. We
Well,
found
thank goodness
out.
you're well,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yep.
But the care, even when I got admitted, was still those nurses. Anytime I rang, and I hated ringing because I
Right.
knew, especially if something pulled off or, and you have to.
You're one of those patients, huh?
I
Stan?
hate
You're
it.
pulling
I
out your
hate-
IVs.
No, I don't pull
just
them out, but
kidding.
they would come out. And the sad part is, I know how busy nurses are. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it. And then to put that hazmat suit on,
I know.
and
Each
then
time, and
every time they
you
come
know,
in, and they'd be only gone for 35 or 40 minutes, and things start beeping again. I think, oh, seriously?
Yeah.
And I hated to ring that thing.
I know.
I was hoping somebody would
There,
walk in.
you just kind of get used to it. That's the environment that you're in.
It is.
And
But I know I'm not the only patient.
right.
So when you ring that, and the thing is, sometimes when you're in a smaller hospital like Salem, you get that immediate attention.
Yeah.
Because, okay, they're at the nurse's station. Of course, it took them a few minutes to get the hazmat suit on. But, but then they came in, did the thing. It'd take them 5 minutes, and they had to go throw all that away. I thought, what? Such a waste of money?
I know. Can't
Such a
reuse it,
waste
though.
no, you can't reuse them. But, I'm looking at this as, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Well, that is, thank goodness, we're not seeing any of that right
Right.
now.
But I
and
still
so-
appreciate every nurse that came in. They would take the time. Once they got that suit on,
Right.
they came in there, and they would spend some time. And that's not why I rang the bell.
Right. Yep.
But
You have to be a compassionate person to be a nurse. You can't just be in it for the money, because it is a very demanding job, and you
Sure.
have to have that compassion for the patient. Because if you don't, the patient definitely feels that.
yeah, and I tip my cap to all of them that came in. All were very friendly, even the ones taking your blood at 6 in the morning. You
Yeah.
know, and they know they're waking you up, and they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was awake when they came in. Some used to getting up so early. I said, "Where you been?"
Yeah.
You know, and they seriously? I said, "Yeah, I've been awake for an hour. I've been waiting on you.
Oh,
Here's my
man.
arm. Take it."
Yep.
You know,
You need the routine.
But it is such a rewarding experience. You know, I know when I left and they came and said goodbye, say, hey,
Yeah.
I hear you checking out today. And I found that so cool that they came back and said, hey, I just want to say it's been a pleasure,
Right.
having you here. And I thought, that was wonderful.
Yes.
Not that I really wanted to be there, but that you have what you have, you get it taken care of, you get healthy, and you move on.
Yeah.
But you don't forget. You just don't forget. And that
yeah.
kind of treatment, you don't forget.
You don't. Now, if you have a negative experience, you will not
You don't
forget
forget
that either.
Right.
So
And
we
that-
try to, our staff, I feel like they all want to make sure that patient has a positive experience. Obviously, sometimes things happen. And we have negative experiences
Sure.
with patients, but patients are sick and they don't feel good. And so it may not be the nurse but it's a very difficult time for that patient. And so, but that's our goal. We want to make sure that everything is positive and that the patient leaves the facility and they feel like that we really cared and that they were treated appropriately.
Right. Oh, like I mentioned, though, you hit the button and you get immediate service, and then the next time you hit the button, they're already with another patient, and they have
Yeah.
to go take that entire hazmat suit off and put on another one.
Yeah.
And that's going to take some time.
Yeah.
But like you say, when you're sick, every second seems like an hour.
It really does.
And where are they? I've been doing this for an hour and a half. You've been doing it for 2 minutes.
Right.
Yep. But you just don't feel that way. You
Right.
feel like I need my attention now, which is, I know when I get sick, I like, just leave me alone. Just don't
Yeah.
bother me,
Right.
because I know I'm not going to be a nice person. We all know that. You get a little testy because you just don't
Well, yeah,
feel the best.
It happens.
Yeah, let me get over this, and then I'll be just fine. But until then, get out of my way.
Right, I just need to sleep.
Yeah, just leave me sleep, or let me go do whatever I need to do. And it's a situation where the nurses understand that.
Yeah.
They do understand that, and they're trying to make it the best they can. And there's just no pleasing sometimes.
Right.
No matter what they do, they're not going to make you happy.
Right.
They're just not going to do it. But it is such a rewarding experience. And there are different levels of nurses, right?
Absolutely.
Can you explain those to different people?
Well, we have RNs, LPNs, and we have nurses assistants.
And you have nurse practitioners.
Yeah, and we have nurse practitioners. Most of our nurse practitioners, they work in our clinic.
Right.
And then we have a combination of RNs and LPNs. We have a lot of RNs in the facility, but we utilize LPNs as well, and we love to have LPNs. They're a great asset to the team. And then obviously our CNAs, they do so much. They do so much for that patient. Honestly, that CNA is in there more than the nurse throughout the day. And they're the eyes and the ears for the nurse a lot of times, and they'll come to the nurse and say, hey, this patient their blood pressure is elevated, or, I just don't think they look right. Can you go check on them? Or, they are really a huge asset. Without them, the nurses could not be successful. They're a huge, huge part of the team.
And so it's not just a nurse.
Right.
There is a group of them.
Yep.
Here's a team. I guess
Yep.
you really want to call it a team, because that's what it really is.
Yep. Yep. It takes all of us to make the hospital flow, and I think that we have a great team out at SMDH.
And when you think about nurses, and you were mentioning the different departments, there's different responsibilities in every one of those departments, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's really hard. That's why it's a specialty area. Dialysis, surgery, home health, long-term care, those are all specialty areas. And so a nurse, if you've only done med surg, you can't just go walk into surgery and say, okay, let's go back and do a surgery. It takes a level of training.
Sure.
So that's what also with the shortage is making it difficult, because if we have a shortage in one area, we may have 20, that becomes maybe a crisis. We need help now. We don't need it in a month. We need it now.
Right.
And when you don't have nurses that are trained in those areas, and then they're also very busy, it really makes it difficult to kind of juggle it all, I guess.
Right.
But I will have to say again, the nurses are doing a fantastic job with doing that. We're cross-training different nurses in different areas, and to make sure that the needs are met, and they're just really, really stepping up and doing a great job.
So, Ashley, years ago, and I'm talking a lot of years ago, okay, so probably when you were still a puppy.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Okay. When I was in college, it always seemed like whatever the need was for that particular profession. All right. At one time, there was a need for accountants. At one time, there was a need for nurses. At one time, then everybody all of a sudden starts to want to go into those classes to fill that need and make all this money. And then it's like a glut. Then there's too many of them. And then nobody knows what to do with them. And, well, now all of a sudden, well, okay, so you're an accountant, big deal, and we're going to put you in this position. You're not going to be in the position that you studied for, because that's no longer available because there's too many of you. Nursing profession, I don't think there's hardly ever been a time when nurses are not needed. I think there's always been a need for nurses, but now it's a critical need, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah. I've been a nurse for right about 20 years now.
You can't be. You're only 28.
I know. I don't know how that works out that way, but it does, I guess. I just went into it real young.
Yeah, maybe you're 32. You do have a kind of an older daughter.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. But there's always been a need. There's never been a time where anybody, I think, ever had a difficult time in the nursing field getting a job. And now, like you said, it's a critical need. There's so many positions open, not just with SMDH, but Phelps,
everywhere.
And everywhere you go, there's nurses that are needed. So if it was one isolated facility or something, it'd be one thing, but we're seeing it everywhere, nationwide.
Right. And nurses, and guys, if you want to be a nurse, be a nurse. I mean, the old adage was a nurse was always a woman, and then you'd see a guy nurse, and people would kind of make fun of them.
Some of our best nurses are males.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are.
It's not who you are. It's not the gender you are. It's the care you want to give.
Right. Yep.
And the compassion you have for that field.
Yep. Yep. I think we're starting to see more male nurses. I think that I've seen an increase in that. So that's great.
It's a fantastic and such a rewarding profession. And you can go as far as you want to. We start talking about just getting involved. There was some internships that the hospital had with the high school for a while. I know with COVID that kind of killed everything, and hopefully they'll get that back started again. But if you're interested in the medical field or interested in being a nurse, there's a lot of positions available at the hospital right now. Yeah. And if you've had some training in nursing, get in touch with the hospital and see if there's something that you can work out with them, and maybe you can get some on-the-job training as well as take your studies and get certified.
That are nurses' aides, and they're wanting to become certified, and their next goal is to go to nursing school. So we work with nurses' assistants all the time and trying to get them going in that process, and it's really neat to see them transform.
And actually, they've accelerated the nursing program in many locations now to get you done even quicker, so that you're available to get that job and help out.
Yeah.
So that's been a new thing, where you used to have to go to school and take you X amount of years to get done. Now they've accelerated these programs to where it doesn't take very long for you to get your certification.
Yeah.
Not as long. There's still some time investment you've got to make, but
and a lot of nurses, when I went to school to be a registered nurse, usually a lot of nurses came out with their associate's degree. Most nurses come out with a bachelor's degree now, so a lot of these programs are bachelor degree programs, which is really, really good, because that's a lot of what the hospitals are looking for, someone with their bachelor's degree.
Yeah, and a lot of colleges with dual credit courses, if you take them in high school, you get rid of those. I always kind of call them the foundation base, which was all of your generic courses, your English, your things of that nature. That when you went to school, you already had it in high school. Now you're getting it again in college, but it was a little bit more advanced. But they still, now with some dual credit courses, though, they're allowing you to get through that quicker.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of kids actually come out of high school almost with an associate's degree now.
exactly. So that wasn't the case when I went.
No.
You went through the whole process.
Which is great. It just gives them they're a step.
Head start.
Yep.
Head start.
One step ahead of the game.
Yeah. So if anybody be interested in the nursing field, can they give you a call?
Absolutely.
And your number is, or your extension is at 729-6626 or 5917.
Right.
Your extension is?
4030.
4030. Talk with Ashley Sullins. You're the Chief Nursing Officer. That's the CNO, in case you want to know what that is. And she does a great job. You've done a lot of different things to the hospital, so you've had a lot of different hats to wear.
Yeah.
But even though you don't wear title-wise all those hats, you still have tiny little hats. Under the chief nursing officer, you have tiny little hats underneath that big hat that you're still responsible for all those different departments you talked about and making sure you're still on duty. You're still a working nurse.
Right. Yep.
Not like you sit in an office and hide.
No. And most nurses now, because of the shortage, we're working nurses. We're trying to, cover the shifts and make sure, because patient care is number one. We want to make sure that those patients are cared for. And so, we all can't do it on our own, and that's the truth. It takes a good team of nurses. Not one nurse can do it. So, and that's what I appreciate about all the nurses at Salem Hospital is they understand that we all have to work together. We are a rural hospital. We don't have, a bunch of people in this area that, are nurses that want to work here. They want to go to bigger places. And, but the thing about it is we have a lot of opportunities at Salem. We're really pushing to keep our census up. The type of patients that we're caring for, they're higher acuity. We're, increasing our swing bed referrals. So we have a variety of people that we're caring for. So nurses who are wanting that experience and they feel like, I'm not going to get it at Salem, I promise you're going to get that experience when you come to work for us. So if you're a new nurse looking for a good starter place, we would love to talk to you and interview you and get you on board, or even a nurse that's been a nurse for 20, 30 years. We would really love to have good nurses. So,
and if you're looking for a career, it's a great career to get into, because there's been times people like yourself, you find a place, you find a home.
Yeah.
This is where I really want to be. You raise your family. You feel comfortable here. This is where you want to be.
Right.
And when you find that location and you put your heart and soul into it, and then you find out, hey, living in this area really isn't that bad.
No, it's a good area.
I came down from city life. I was used to 110 miles an hour. And I didn't even know how I was ever going to exist in a smaller town. But I did go to a small town for college for 2 years, which got me prepared to slow down.
Sure.
But it also, you're a young person and you still have all that energy and you want to get out there. But then as time wears on, you're thinking, what? This really isn't a bad place to be.
Right.
And you find out that I'm saving a lot of money because I'm 2 blocks from work. I live that close.
Yeah.
The food's cheaper. The groceries are cheaper. The overhead down here for virtually everything is cheaper than it is in a major metropolitan city. You don't have to go fight traffic. You don't have to go through a whole bunch of different rigmarole for everything you do, because there's just so much.
Right.
And the prices, they eat you alive.
Right.
So you might think I'm going to make $26 an hour. I was talking to a couple teachers who have decided to leave the Salem district and move somewhere else. They found out cost of living there. They might have gotten a substantial raise, but the cost of living there is going to eat it up.
Right.
They're not going to come out any different than they were right here. And so sometimes your eyes get pretty big when somebody offers you a lot of money and you find out how much it costs to live there.
Right.
It may not be a good trade-off.
Right.
Plus, the pressure you're going to get put under at a larger facility sometimes, because they expect more.
Right.
And you're going to become a number.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true too.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
So, hey, number 2622, you need to be over here.
Yeah.
I don't know what your name is, but get over there.
Right.
That's not the case at Salem. They know your name. They know everything. They know your family. And if you're from the area, they're going to know everything about you. You know, within about 2 weeks, pretty well, you know. But, I mean, it's a family type of deal. I'm not, I mean, they're nosy. They just, once they start to figure out who you are, who you're related to, or you start talking and ask questions, it becomes really pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know, to just kind of fit in and just roll it with the flow. It becomes very simple.
Yep.
All right, 729-6626-4030.
Yep.
Or 729-5917. That is Ashley's extension. If you'd like to be a nurse, want to find out more about being a nurse, or if you have some nursing experience and you'd like to look into a position at Salem Memorial District Hospital, she's the girl you want to talk to.
Yep.
Because she's the CNO, Chief
Give me
Nursing
a call.
Officer.
I'll be more than happy to take your call.
There you go. Very good. Ashley, thanks for making it in.
Thank you.
And because Ashley was late, we're not going to punish her because she was talking to a patient, which is why she
good.
was not here. Part of those nursing duties, you know what I
right.
mean? Very good. Ashley, thanks a lot. Appreciate
Thank you.
Give it air. Weather's next.
Has your physician ordered you an x-ray? What about a CT scan? Maybe an MRI? This is Bobby Sullins, Radiology Director at Salem Memorial